Hello. Welcome back to the Friends of Zeus podcast. This is episode 213. I'm back for the moment. I don't know how long. My life's just a whirlwind right now. A lot of just bullshit going on.
jetting
But
around, jetting around the world,
yeah, but I was just at the Rogan show and they
parties.
ran me off the property. um yeah, so tonight, just as a hint, if you notice Mike's background and my background, it's the Earth that's behind us,
The
and
Earth.
The
the
Earth,
Earth,
the
the
Earth,
Earth,
Earth.
the Earth,
ERF, Earth.
Mother
E.T.
Earth.
phone home.
Oh my God, that was
Earth.
so bad. That was so bad.
We love the Earth.
So we wanted to talk about uh, a local planetary hero, Elon Musk, and how he footed the bill to go save some astronauts that were stuck up in space for what, like 9 months?
Develop the technology. Yeah,
Yeah,
nine months. June. Yeah, I'm trying to think how many
yeah,
months. Seven plus
and
like 10 months. Yeah.
and so I guess a lot of the talk was that their health was in jeopardy because I guess when you're in space for a long period of time, bone density starts to be affected. Does that ring true to anything you guys have heard?
Yeah, I mean long term trips to a microgravity situation of causes can cause a lot of issues for the human body, which is why when they're up at the International Space Station, the ISS, they exercise pretty rigorously. They get on these treadmills and stuff, and they strap themselves down to simulate, gravity, and they run.
Gravity.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that was something I found fascinating, is that they were pulling these guys off on stretchers because they hadn't had any resistance. So I don't know if it would be atrophy that their muscles went through, but it must have been something similar to that.
well, it's also the
Um,
weight. You feel weightless, and then you're basically in zero G, and then you come back and you're in 1G. So if you weigh 150 pounds, all of a sudden you're carrying around 150 pounds that you weren't feeling that you were carrying. It has
yeah,
respiratory effects. It has all kinds of effects. But one thing just to throw out there, Zeus,
space madness.
space madness, you get the space herpes and all that stuff. But
Oh,
Yeah,
ice
we can keep
pirates!
that in
Nice
space.
fucking pull.
but
Wait,
these
wait,
two
Desiree, you gotta understand how many decades Mike just went back with
space
space
herpes.
herpes.
Well,
Robert Urich, right? Robert Urich,
I
Ice
don't even
Pirates.
remember the reference. I just
Well,
remember the
again, keep that
space
in
herpes.
space.
Yeah, we don't need that here. But what
Yeah,
I'm
Earth
saying
herpes
is
is bad enough.
these
You
two
think anyone's ever had
astronauts,
sex in space?
yes, I'm
Oh,
sure.
if I
Really?
was up there, damn sure. I bet you it's the first thing they do.
I don't know. Maybe
Well,
not.
no, hold on, because how many women astronauts have there been?
Probably 15.
only, only really need
Okay, so
one.
there's been a lot.
Yeah, there's been a
I
lot.
didn't know. I
Probably
didn't
more
know.
than that. Probably we can look it up.
They can have sex with other dudes.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean, it's like gay for the stay.
we were being a little discriminatory there. Okay, so let
Yeah.
me get this back onto okay.
Sorry.
But no, what I'm saying is there's it is amazing that they were rescued, but the one thing that I didn't even realize from all the press coverage, these were very well accomplished astronauts that were coming back. The man and the woman, was it like Williams and something Walker, I think. Um, Both were experienced astronauts that had both been on previous missions. They were both test pilots, you know. So these were people. They weren't like a teacher, or they weren't like
Yeah,
just
and
someone on there on a pleasure cruise. So they knew what they were doing. And yes, it is a very long time. If it was you or I, it would be much tougher. And they're definitely going to have probably a month or two of rehabilitation.
and
Um,
and and
but
my
they're not novices.
and my understanding is, yeah, they were up there for 9 months, but other people had come and gone while they were there, if I'm not mistaken. Like there was a circulation of people, but for one reason or another, they were not able to come back down. Is what I gathered. Does that sound right?
Not, yeah, not, I don't, I think some
They
people
weren't there
came
by
up.
themselves.
No, when the new crew came up on the Dragon 9, I think. Whatever it was, the Dragon Freedom capsule is the one that brought them back. That went up in September. There was another one that just went up like a week and a half ago because at the space station they have these when the rocket goes up and they deliver a new crew, the capsule sits there and then they have an old capsule from a previous launch, and that's what the ones that the astronauts that are going back ride back in. The issue that this situation was about was back in, what was it, June, when they went up, when these two astronauts went up, they went up on the Boeing test uh, rocket, which hadn't been to the space station before. So they went up there, but they had issues and they weren't feeling safe to ride it back. So they sent that pod back empty, just with like
Huh.
trash in it and stuff like that. So the issue was they had a pod up there, but they are not supposed to send the last one back
That makes sense.
and not
Right.
have one. So the one that they rode back on, you're right, Zeus. There was another crew that came. The people came up after them back in September. Is when the pod that they came back in yesterday. That's when that one was launched. It was September. But a week or two ago, they launched the Dragon 10, which went up there with four new people. So four people came back because it can hold four people.
So
So
so okay. So my question, Dragon 10. So Elon's been doing this for at least 9 ships.
to the space station,
And
yes.
and we're and we're really just hearing about like the 9 and the 10, these most recent ones. That
Yeah.
dude, how it infuriates me, the hatred that he gets, because I didn't know about any of that. He's not like throwing out press that, hey, look, I've been doing this for like 9 missions. The guy is a fucking hero, man. I'm sorry. Say what you will, eat the rich, whatever. That guy,
He
nobody is truly an altruist, but he might be as close as you get.
he is throwing money at a problem that is a very expensive problem. And I'm, talking about like space travel and being a um interplanetary species. And so yeah, you could make an argument, a reasonable person could make an argument that the presence of Elon Musk has tremendously advanced the human beings space travel because for the since we went to the moon for pretty much our entire lifetimes, Russia, the United States, India, Canada, China, we've all been content to just stick around low Earth orbit. No one's really gone back to the moon. Elon came in, threw the gauntlet down, was like, I want 1 million people on Mars in 20 years. You know what I mean?
I heard something
No one
about
was talking about
2030.
that.
I heard
Yeah.
something about
Well, this was
2030 that
10 years
they're
ago. Yeah.
that's amazing, man. And I believe it's going to happen. I have zero doubt
I'm just
that
saying
it will
he's
happen.
a visionary. He is a species changing figure. I mean, I don't think that's exaggerating. Um,
No, he's the Da Vinci of our age.
but the thing with SpaceX, after the shuttle program, George Bush killed, that during that administration killed that, and they were going to do the Constellation program, and that never got off the ground.
That was like a space plane, right?
Yeah. And we still
Yeah.
had the space station up there, and so for like a decade, we had to rely on the Russians with the Soyuz capsules to go up there and come back and all that stuff. So there was definitely a need for this. But the thing that really, when Musk had an interest and then the US government and NASA was finally like, okay, let's take off the training wheels and let's open this up to industry.
Okay, show me.
And it's just amazing how much faster industry was able to come up with these rockets, that
Well,
SpaceX has.
it's kind of why it's kind of why Trump is relatively successful now, because he's running the country more like a business, and and Musk is running. the space race like a business.
He's all here's the thing that, and not, I don't want to like, if you guys know all this, just let me know. But the the Cliff Notes version of what Musk is doing and what SpaceX is about, and when people see these rockets come back and the things catch them, the
It's so
chopsticks
amazing.
catch them and all this. The whole point of what he's trying to do is he's trying to get the dollar amount of launch per person. Actually, not even per person. He's trying to get the dollar amount per pound of payload or ton of payload down to a point where he can colonize Mars. That's where he's going. All this stuff, the Dragon, going to the space station, these are all just little steps along the way that, are proving concept, bringing in income to
And I
SpaceX. That's not his goal. What he wants to do is not send a crew to Mars. He wants to send 50 starships, which is the name of the large, that has the 27 Falcon heavy engines on it, that is bigger than the Saturn V. He wants to send like 50 plus of those things with supplies in them and robots and all this stuff to land on Mars. Like the rocket would come down, like we see him land on Mars, open up, little robots come
no,
out,
actually,
start
wait,
building
wait, wait.
stuff.
I'm gonna correct you on that. I saw him on Rogan the other day, and it's not good. They're not gonna land like a plane or land like these
Or
the
drop
ones that we
stuff.
see. That's for here. That's for efficiency here. They're gonna actually have to like either I want to say they either are going to use robots to build a landing strip or something like that, but they're going to have a new kind of technology for landing on Mars.
Yeah. But
But I think it's less gravity, right? Mars.
yeah, oh, yeah. It's a
Yeah.
smaller planet. Mars is about a fourth the size of the Earth. And what he wants to do is he's talking quantity, man. He wants to be there, and then he wants to send these starships they would hold about 100 people each. And he wants to send hundreds of them. Like not every week or not every month, not every week, not every day, like every 30 minutes. Like
Yeah, I
just
saw a
send them up, send them
diagram.
up, send them up.
I saw a diagram, and it was like they fly into space. When that one gets up there, it comes back, it
They
lands.
catch it.
They get that one prepared, and because the big part, the where he's saving the money is they're not smashing to the earth; they're coming back intact
And
and
ready to go. The
well,
turnaround.
not ready to go, but more salvageable. A lot more pieces will be able to maintain integrity, so that they just have to tweak them and get them back up. So there's probably going to be some hiccups. Some of those are
Of
probably going to
course.
blow up in space and all that, but I think overall the volume of space travel that we're going to see before we're even in our graves
It'll be
is
in
going to
our
be it'll
lifetime.
be
Is this like
immense.
a vacation to Mars or like what are we
No,
doing?
no.
No, what he wants to do is he wants to use Mars as a launching point to further out in space. So, like using the gravity of Mars, spinning around it and launching themselves out further through like gravity
So like
force or
just
whatever,
like a
like a
SpaceX
slingshot.
base on Mars.
What the moon may become 4 trips to Mars. And his thing is he wants human beings to be not a single planet species. You
Okay,
know,
so hold on. So if we're just going to be using Mars as the launching point to go further, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like a
So why is it,
slingshot.
what's the point of sending people every 30 minutes? Because that's a lot of
Oh,
people.
I think he
yeah,
wants a colony there. Doesn't he
he
want
wants
to
a
Yeah,
colonize
colony
Mars?
there. Yeah, he
Yeah,
wants to
that's what I thought.
colonize.
Like he wants to, because Earth is going to be no more in how many every Earth years? I don't
Yeah,
know, but
he's talking about 1 million people there. And like Zeus said, by 2030, it's probably going to be after that. But he said 20 years, 10 years ago.
but
Um,
we'll see the beginnings of it definitely.
but what I'm saying is no one has thought like this. Before this, when people would talk about going to Mars, it was like, okay, we're going to send scientists and astronauts there to study rocks and fake. No one was talking about, not at least in this century, of occupying other planets.
because
That's
why
Yeah.
could you want? Why would you want to?
Well, I mean, it was science fiction,
Asteroids.
right? I mean, we had that movie Total Recall with Arnold back in the day, and that was all about the colony on Mars and
Yeah.
generating oxygen and
Hmm.
like the little dome, the biodome that they had created.
Terraforming.
Yeah, terraforming, right?
I mean, to answer your question, Desiree, I think a lot of it is, again, a belief of, our time on this planet as a species is finite, right? I mean, it just is. I mean, eventually
I mean,
something's
we
going to
we may have
happen.
another 1,000 years. We may have
We may have
another 10,000
million
years.
years, whatever it is,
But
but
but having two planets is always better than one.
and it's
You
all,
know?
Okay, but let's just bring everyone back to no pun intended Earth for a second. Human beings need oxygen. They need
correct.
water,
Yeah,
H2O.
it's
They need
there.
they need to have a temperature that is between a certain range because if it's colder, you're gonna freeze, and if it's hotter, you're gonna burn and boil.
Yeah,
Like, does Mars support all of these things?
not right now,
Do
but
trees grow
But
on Mars? Because trees are
well,
where lumber comes from, and lumber is where
well,
houses
well
come from.
but
Can
but
you
to
have
answer your
chickens on
question,
Mars? Because you eat chickens and eggs. Like, I mean,
we don't
what are you
know.
gonna do?
We don't
Ship
know any
food to
of this.
Mars?
We don't know any of this. That's why we got to get there.
well,
Um,
also, yeah,
but so Mars is not. We're in what's called the Goldilocks zone. We're just right. Mars is too warm, but they also
Cold.
don't have the too cold. Is it cold?
Yeah, it's too cold.
I thought they didn't have an atmosphere, so that it was hotter.
Is that right?
Do we know?
I don't know. Venus is too hot. Mars too cold.
I thought it
Earth
was
just
further
right.
away from the sun, so it would be colder. That's what I always thought.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I
if you
thought.
don't, but you don't have a good atmosphere. The atmosphere blocks out a lot of the sunlight. It
Ah,
Oh,
So I want to say
so
that
what about Saturn?
that's too
either,
well,
fucking
that's
far away.
either way,
yeah.
it's
That's
not
cold.
habitable right now. But the point is to build the technology so that we're able to do it in like a
and
hundred years or
and
whatever.
some of
That's
it, some
probably the
of it,
first thing they'll do is start to build an atmosphere
well, some of it
in
is
one way, shape, or form.
theoretical. Some of it's
Yeah.
theoretical. There is evidence that there's water, subterranean water on Mars at the poles. And yes, you can't, there's a lot of theories that Mars used to be inhabitable, that it did
Mm.
have an atmosphere. And again, when you get into the ideas of terraforming and creating atmospheres, theoretically, this stuff seems to be possible.
Possible. Yeah.
Whether it is or not. I mean, again, the big thing with Mars is it's very cold. It's like
Okay.
200 below zero or something crazy like that. You can't survive outside of a suit there as it sits right now. But again, Desiree, the other thing is resources. So you look at a planet like Earth, and we've got, rare earth minerals, that we're talking about, like making a deal with Ukraine, and China's going into Africa to try to secure and all that stuff. Well, when you go to a whole other planet, I mean, they've got a lot of the same stuff we have. I mean, Mars was born similar to the same time Earth was born, roughly, and you've got valuable minerals there. You've got all sorts of things. There's people that are saying like we need to start tapping, having things land on asteroids and mine minerals and things like that from asteroids. It's resources, it's manifest destiny, it's the human condition of always wanting to push further and go out. I think that's what's
Well,
driving this.
what is it?
I
What is it
almost think
called?
of it like this. Like, you know how there's that base, or there's several bases, I guess now, on Antarctica? Like,
Yeah,
nobody lives there, but like lots of people per year like go there and they go on these like science missions or whatever, and they I don't know what they're studying. Ice,
Marino, yeah,
penguins, who knows? But
Yeah.
climate,
like climate, weather, clouds, rain.
and
That's
also all the
Well,
pyramids that are under the ice sheet there,
yeah, they're
They're
studying
also
all
yeah,
this
they're also
stuff.
on Mars, Mike.
and and
and on
and
Mars.
and Mike, have you heard? I bet if anybody's heard of it, I'll bet Mike has. Have you heard of the Younger Dryas effect?
No,
So there are theories now that are going around, like mainly talking about Egypt and how it was just too advanced for its time. That something happened. Every Younger Dryas effect was like an asteroid hit the Earth and just covered in dust. And if we go down 10 miles underground, we're gonna find little city, like weird shit like that. And that could have also happened on Mars. There was a period in Mars where Mars could have been completely inhabitable, and then something happened, destroyed everything, and then here we are now, a million years later. So there is that. We may get there and actually find there were civilizations that maybe we're Martians.
Yeah, there's a lot of science behind that, Zeus. I mean, if you look at astronauts that go out into space, for an extended period of time, and how their circadian rhythms start to extend to greater than a 24-hour time frame. And on Mars, the days are 24 and a half hours, and that extends. I mean, there's like the other
I don't
thing
need
is,
any more hours in the day.
But the other thing is, it's like, as human beings, we seem very ill-equipped to be on Earth in the first place. I mean, it's like, it's warm, right? We're thriving here, but if you don't have a lot of melanin in your skin, you can get burned. I mean, there's parts of Earth that are pretty inhospitable to human beings. So, did we come here from somewhere else? Who knows? It's pretty entertaining to think about. I mean, what if
were there several civilizations here over millions of years?
What if we are the place that they went to? I mean, you look at the asteroid belt that's between the Earth. Isn't it between the Earth and Mars, or is it between Mars and? I think it's between Earth and Mars. Like, did that used to be a planet that exploded?
And then there's the Van Allen radiation belt, which I think that's the biggest piece of nonsense ever. We can navigate around that or through it. I refuse to believe that we cannot get through the Van Allen. That's the argument that we never went to the moon, was because the radiation would have. But that just seems like
our atmosphere protects us from an immense amount of radiation from the sun and solar flares and things like that. I mean, if we didn't have, the magnetic belts that go pole to pole and our atmosphere, we couldn't survive here. It's our atmosphere is very, very, very thin relatively, and it protects us. But I'm sorry.
I kind of think like this. I think Elon is, I don't really care. I'm not calling him a hero. I'm not calling him anything like he's like the next, whatever, but maybe Nobel Peace Prize winner. I think he is maybe just needs to like I said, come back down to Earth, maybe figure it out first. Send some folks over there and like study it. Maybe
I think that's the
do
plan.
all that, figure it out first, but he's getting everyone excited about talking about sending all these people to Mars in 10 years. 10 years is not a long time.
It's not going to be 10 years. There's no way that's going to happen.
The big knock on Elon has always been he's always more aggressive with what he says timeframes are. I mean, the Cybertruck, which just hit the streets last year, was supposed to hit the streets like 5 years ago or something. People were allowed to put deposits
but now they're
down
everywhere.
on it. My point is, he is very ambitious, but he is, and he's not in his garage soldering stuff for rockets. You know what I'm saying? He's the big picture leader, money guy, big idea guy, and that's who you need. He's daring people to dream. It's inspirational. I mean, look, if you have a son, do you want them to grow up to be Elon Musk, or do you want them to grow up to be Chuck Schumer? Right? I mean, or do you want them to grow up to be Tim Walz, or do you want them to grow up to be Elon Musk?
Elon Musk, but I mean Chuck Schumer.
I'm saying he's the guy. I'm being facetious, but what I'm saying is he is the guy that if you're a 10-year-old boy, you're like, I want to be like that guy. Yep. He just is, and that's fantastic. We need more people like that. We really do. As a culture, we do. As a species, we do.
Well, Rogan talks about him all the time, and he's like, I've never met another human being like him. He runs like 6 companies that are successful, and he like not just successful, like world-changing successful. The Tesla, okay, yeah, the batteries, that one's always going to bother me. I like him. I'm putting that down as risks benefits. I don't like that, but I don't know where he's getting the batteries from. Maybe he's getting them from a more holistic, kinder place than off the backs of Congolese people. or he's doing that, but he's also maybe saving the human race. So I'll take saving the human race and take some hits. He doesn't seem like a bad guy. I've never ever in any of the interviews that I've seen with him gotten the vibe that this guy is insidious or evil or a bad person even. He's just a pragmatist with big dreams.
I mean, he developed with a partner. He developed PayPal. That was where he made his initial money, which basically revolutionized. I mean, it made online transactions secure and easy and cheap, and that revolutionized how people buy stuff. I mean, now
And now we
not
have
that
Venmo.
right, and not that people
And
use
Cash App and
PayPal.
Zelle.
But he
And
developed that technology, he sold it, and then he went in, what, '08, I think he went in and started with Tesla, or probably before that. And the thing with Tesla was he didn't invent the electric car, but I don't know if you guys remember, back in the was it back in the '90s, GM came out with an electric car, but they wouldn't sell it. They only leased it to try to prove the concept, and everyone loved it. But the oil companies and didn't like it. The infrastructure wasn't there to charge these things, and they took forever to charge, and their range was horrible. And so GM like just crushed that. They crushed them, literally crushed the cars, got rid of them. And everyone was like, "Yeah, electric cars are great." I remember in 2002, if you're like, "I want an electric car," people were like, "Man, you're a pansy." You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean
my
electric car? I'm gonna get my little bicycle out. Like everyone's like, I want a big truck. He proved the concept. He came out the Tesla Roadster, which was a sweet ass car, man. I mean, no one remembers it, but it was a little two-seater Roadster. He proved the concept, and they were super expensive, but it worked. It had decent range, and he just kept refining and refining and refining to the point now, if you go to a drag strip, if you guys have drag strips around you, people will have like the classic dragster, stock cars out there, not the funny cars, but the whatever, the Mustang, the '85 Mustang or whatever. And people will bring a Tesla Model S Plaid edition out there and it just smokes everything. It's just, it's like 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds or something like
well,
that.
see, and this
And
is a
it's a sedan with seatbelts, so like you can drive it to Kmart. Like, I mean, the guy,
Oh no, you
economically,
can't.
he
They don't got
proved the
them anymore.
concept. Yeah, they don't have Kmart anymore. Damn it. Um,
Walmart.
Walmart.
so a bone of contention that I have with my sister is she's like, he's not a genius. He didn't invent any of these things. I'm like, nobody. He
Yeah,
never
he did
said that.
some. Some he
But
did.
he didn't like. He didn't invent the Tesla. He got all the smart people together. He's a
Correct.
facilitator. He's a facilitator, and I don't know. That's what I don't
Yeah.
understand about my sister hating him. Is he's my mom and my sister have this big eat the rich thing, and I've made it clear I have no problem if you earned your money, good for you, fine. Share, be kind, do good things, which he is doing in spades. Bezos gives money. They all give out money. Why do they have to give out all their money? Because they earned more, because they put their nose to the grindstone
Look,
more. Fuck that.
here
But my thing is he's never claimed to be an inventor. He's a thinker. He's a facilitator. He
he's a
knows.
futurist. He's a futurist.
Yes, yeah. He's Tony Stark, man. I mean, if you like
Well,
Marvel, you kind of gotta like him.
here's the
you know.
here's the thing, and economics, and the thing you gotta look at with Elon Musk, you can't take away the economic side of it and the again proving concepts and being able to do things that other people say are impossible because he has the money to do it. And he fails a lot. There's a lot of things he's done that have failed, right? But there's a
The
lot of
thing
things.
the thing
Anyway,
I find really fascinating about him is when you sit and listen to him in an interview, his one of his best qualities is he is able to explain things in a way that us, the plebes, can get it. Maybe not completely, but we can conceptualize what he's saying. He's a very good orator. He's mastered how he delivers his message to a point where even us, under 160 IQ people can kind of capture what he's saying.
he speaks efficiently, right? He doesn't speak
but he dumbs it
flowerily.
down. He dumbs it down for lack of a better
I mean,
term. He
I would say this, hi, Zeus's mom and Zeus's sister. Here's the thing to think about. It's that old I guess it's a story or analogy or whatever, lesson, fable. If you take a 50 wealthy people, and 50 people who are not wealthy, they're poor, and you take away everything they have, and you give them all $1 million, and you wait 10 years, the majority of the people that were wealthy are going to be wealthy again, and the majority of the people that weren't are going to be not wealthy again.
Hmm.
So if you're looking at from a capital standpoint, as a country, as a society, or whatever, who do you want to support, right? If you give $1 to Elon Musk, he's going to go out and do some crazy shit with it. If you give $1 to Chuck Schumer, he's gonna blow it on something stupid, and you're never gonna see it again. So the reason why Elon Musk is cool in my viewpoint is because he's like a force multiplier of capital. Like if you give him
he takes
resources,
risks.
he takes risks and he will take those resources and he will expand them, right? To me, that's why he's so cool. I mean, again, I'm not a Elon Musk super fan or anything like that. He's weird, whatever. But he's a self-made person, and he is one of those people that 1,000 years from now, they're going to still be talking about him. They just
So
Of
are.
let's talk
course.
about these astronauts now that we talked
Yeah,
about
Yeah.
Elon
Let's
Musk
get
for
yeah.
57 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
Been
Yes.
on that long, but it's been a while.
It's been a while. Oh, so
What happened? What's up with these astronauts? Like, I swear I didn't even know anything about these until like 2 days ago.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's the controversy is after they went up there, and then the next group went
Where did
up
they
in
go?
September to this
Space
International Space
station.
Station,
International Space Station.
the
It was
ISS.
supposed to be
Okay.
an 8-day trip, and it ended up being 268 days.
Like Gilligan's Island.
Now,
Yes.
how long does an astronaut typically stay on the ISS? Like,
Longer than
what's
that.
maximum stay?
I don't know what the typical is, but it's definitely longer than 8 days, and it's definitely less than 270 days for
Okay.
the most part. There have been astronauts that have stayed up there for a year, and there's ones, I think the record's like 360 days or something in space at one time. But they were just going up there for some specific, I'm not sure what the reasons are, certain experiments, certain something. But I know. The main reason was because they were testing the Boeing rocket. That's the main reason they were going up, because it was a
Hmm.
new rocket to compete with SpaceX, because Boeing was pitching a
Good
fit
luck.
because SpaceX was like getting all these contracts. And there's certain laws. You can't just the government can't just give all their contracts to one company and shut other ones out. Boeing was knocking on the door and saying, hey, we want a piece of this pie. Look, we've got a rocket. We've got this thing. We've got, we want to send these astronauts up. That was the reason, Desert. I forgot. It wasn't to do other stuff. That's why it was so short. They were just going to test the rocket. But they had these issues, and I think it was with
The coupling.
I can't remember what it was, but it was enough where they felt unsafe to ride it home, which is why it went by itself. So now that effed up everything, because NASA plans these missions months, years in advance, and they were going to ship 4 people up in September, but they only shipped 2, I believe, because they had the 2 that were left up there. Um, and there's some people that are saying, look, in order to make it economically viable, they had to stay up there for a while because they had to do the experiments and the jobs that those 2 astronauts that didn't go up were going to do. So there could be some validity to that. But if you listen to Musk, his thing is that he went to the U.S. government and was like, look, just let me know. I can get a rocket. We can get up there and get those guys. And they were like, no. They said no. This is him saying this, and he said it now. I've seen him say it twice on the record, on a microphone, that this happened. Did it? I don't know. I mean, I don't put anything past leftists at this point. I mean, that they'll turn anything into something political. But during
Well,
the height of the
it sounded like they wanted to do it right at the end of Biden's. They wanted to bring them down right at the end, so they
no,
look like the heroes. But
no, they didn't
then
want Musk doing it because
No,
Musk
they
was
didn't want Musk to
backing
do it.
Trump. They didn't want
Right.
him to look good.
Right.
okay,
That's the story on the street.
Well, it's
You
pretty
know,
obvious, right, at this
it
point.
seems. I mean, it seems pretty
Well,
obvious
hold on.
when.
These ones that were that they sent the two in September. You said that.
Correct.
Where did those two go? They still
They're
there?
still. Did they come back with this one?
no, I think they left some people up there that had been there a shorter period of time.
I think they came back with these
So
guys.
so if two went up because they were already up there, so but four could have went because they had planned for four. When
Correct.
those two came back, why didn't those left up there to go with them?
They they did. The ones that went up in September, I believe, was supposed to be four. They cut it
Right,
to two, and
right.
then that's the capsule they just rode back. But they weren't going to ride back with the two people, I believe, that came up in September. The problem was they weren't going to send it back and then leave no capsule on the space station. They had to get another rocket up there to re to have
To have a
another
spare,
capsule to have a
basically
spare.
yeah.
Yeah, and
You know what I found interesting is like you never think about a couple of things you never think about when you think of space travel. First of all, them coming down and not being able to walk. That I never it had never occurred to me before. Because I feel like with the space shuttles, that might be different because they walked off they walked off and they were fine, but they
they
were
were
only up there
never.
for a few days. Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the interesting terms that I heard was international coupling. So, like, in other words, every spaceship, there's a conglomerate of, or there's like a certain designs that they all keep. One being the coupling to connect the spaceship to the space station. That whoever invents any rocket or whatever to go up there has to have this specific
For
design.
the space station.
It's
Yeah.
it's an internationally uh
Standard.
standard. Yeah. What I never thought about it before, but it makes a hell of a lot of sense. But like that I found fascinating. Is like of course they have to do that because if India comes up with a better spaceship and they want to go up there, they have to have the same connections that everybody else has.
If
I know that's kind of stupid for me to geek out on, but that's kind
no,
of
if
cool too.
Zeus, if you like that, there and I'll find it and send it to you. I got to remember, but there's a the whole story of the origin of firefighting in cities. Like when they first came out with fire hydrants, everyone just made their own, and there was no standard. And so they had, if you had a little fire, your little town would come put it out, and that's great. But if you had a big fire and you called in fire people, and this is back when they had wagons with horses and stuff like that, and they'd come
Yeah.
in from the next town, none of their equipment worked with the equipment in that little town. And so
Well, yeah, it's like why fire hydrants look the same in every country.
now they do, but
Yeah.
but fire, if you go to antique stores, you can still, well, they're super expensive, but they got to a point where in firefighters would have these like key is basically like a key ring of all these adapters, to like juice like for all the
Like
other.
Allen wrenches or something.
Right,
Yeah.
before they had a standard. And now this was back in a time where you had to pay your fire department and they would give you a little plaque to put on your house. And if your house was on fire and they showed up and you didn't have the plaque, they wouldn't necessarily put out the fire.
Oh,
Like
that sucks.
you had to pay them. This is back like the 1800s or whatever. But anyway,
And okay, my other observation from this is how funny are those fucking astronauts that they had that alien sitting on the
I love that.
Did
Yeah,
you see
so
that, Des?
No.
yeah, I should put
Oh,
that on the
I'm still trying to figure out. So NASA sent the two up,
correct.
the two that were supposed to be the four.
Correct.
So then NASA brought the four back.
Correct. Well, yeah, SpaceX, NASA with SpaceX technology. Yes.
NASA's kind of just attaching their names to the more successful space
Yes,
travel people now.
so NASA is the
Okay.
organization that runs everything. SpaceX is the company that makes the hardware, that makes the rockets themselves, makes the
Gotcha.
technology that allows them to do it. NASA is the governing organization.
NASA's more like a broadcasting
Well, well,
unit anymore.
NASA never made stuff, right? I mean, the space shuttle was made by Rockwell International.
Lockheed Martin,
NASA is
Boeing.
just the governing agency, the governing body.
Gotcha.
Not to
So
minimize it.
SpaceX is the supplier of the rocket ships.
Correct. They are the contractor, you know. Which is why, and this is not to get back to Elon, but this is why it's so hilarious when people are like, I can't believe we're letting Elon look at people's social security numbers. It's like Elon Musk probably has, I mean, it's probably arguable that he has the highest government clearance of anyone. I mean, outside of like presidents and senators, because he is in so many different types of technology. All the technology that SpaceX has is all regulated by the US government. It's all defense. SpaceX is technically a defense contractor. So he's
when
got
he was
so
on
much clearance.
Rogan.
He knows so much stuff that he can't talk about. So the idea that, he's looking for, Zeus's social security number is precious.
Well, also, weren't people pretty happy to hand over that information when it was PayPal and things like that? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's not
exactly.
like you
Well,
hand over that information to companies all the time just to function.
Yeah.
I mean, you apply to some random credit card offer that you get in an email, and you're going to give them your social and your address and your date of birth. I mean, what are they worried about?
And your cash.
And your cash, right?
He was very interesting on Rogan. This last one with him on Rogan, you should watch if you haven't, because Rogan's like, "Come on, what do you know about the aliens?" And he's like, "Well, first of all, I'm a government contractor. Even if I knew something, I couldn't say it. And quite frankly, I don't want to die." Like
Yeah.
he's like, "There's a target on my head now all the time."
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the guy's got balls, man. Like I said, you guys don't have to be fanboys. I am a
So
huge
again,
Elon
back to the
fanboy.
astronauts.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Elon Musk said, I'll spin a space. Sorry, I'm trying to make
No,
this
I get
a
it. I get it.
productive show.
Yeah.
What? So they went. Elon Musk said, "I can send a spaceship right now." Da, 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 da. And they're like, "No, no, no, we're cool."
He said it was so they have their schedule. They had the September launch and the one that just they had the schedule of launches. And basically what he was saying is, look, I've got 5 of these Dragon capsules. The one that they came down in, he's got 5 of them. He's got multiple lift systems to get them up there. He was like, I know you guys haven't ordered it. I know it's not in the schedule. I know you haven't assigned anyone. I know whatever, but
So
if
he
you
was just
want
gonna
it.
say,
to,
"Here,
I can do
just
it.
go get him. Just do
Yeah,
it and
just give me
call
the
it a
word.
wash."
Yeah, just give me the word, and we can go get him. We'll figure it out. Like if this is a rescue mission, I can do it. That was basically what he said, and they were like, nope. Again, he said it twice. If he's wrong,
I'll be right back,
here's
guys.
here's the thing. If what he's saying on the record, and he's Elon Musk, he's not like he's hiding. If what he's saying is untrue, where's the slander and where's the lawsuits? Like where are people retorting against this? Other than just people saying like, man, there's no way that happened. I'm like, really? So where's everyone in the Biden administration saying it never happened? Why aren't they going on record disputing it? They're not going on record. Everyone's just like, talking out their ass on it. So I tend to believe him. Of course, I don't know. And really, I
Well,
don't even
I mean,
care. I really don't care at this point because I hate, the Biden administration was just the most horrible, it's like Weekend at Bernie's. I don't put anything past them.
well, I think if anything, people need to be asking Boeing, "Hey, Boeing, we're gonna need some money to send this additional space thing up to get the spacemen that y'all left up there because y'all's craft sucks.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we
they were
need that
talking
knows?
$4
about
million
that.
dollars or whatever."
No, they've actually been talking about these guys are going to get some cash when they hit Earth. Oh well, they've already hit Earth, but
Well,
apparently they're due some
Hazard pay.
reciprocity. Yeah.
because think about it. Okay, see, it's not that it's good. It's not good for a person to stay. I mean, we the record already shows that you could stay in space a whole year and not die.
Right.
It is possible for people to stay up
But
there. They were
well, but
fed. They
Desiree,
were,
but the health detriment is definite.
Yeah, but
It's clear
but
that
they
that
also
if you
signed but they
but I'm
signed
sure
on for that.
I'm sure that they know this. I'm
Yeah.
sure the biggest risk is death. You know, if you had to
Occupational
stay up
hazard.
there, yeah, I mean, if you stay up there for some extra days, you come home, you got to have some physical therapy for a
Look,
while. I mean, if they're willing to sit there and be like, I mean, they have radios. Hey, Houston, we're okay. We don't mind staying up here for X days,
they were
I
piloting an
guess.
experimental spacecraft. It was risky from Jump Street. Like I don't know that they're owed necessarily, and whatever. I don't know what their contract is. But Boeing, I was suspect when Boeing just because I think Boeing was the one that was like, we don't feel safe with them riding back on this. And I get it, but also if you're Boeing and you're like one of the largest companies in the world, and you're one of two companies that makes like pretty much every major airplane people ride around in, the last thing you want is footage of like your new space capsule burning up on entry with two
yeah,
astronauts in it after you've had this problem. So I think they were like,
yeah.
just controlling the downside and being like, look, no, let's
They
back
were
out
well,
of this.
yeah, they had
And good for
doors
them, but
flying
I
off
just,
airplanes.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
exactly. At that time, that's a good point, Jack. That's concurrent. Yeah, think back last summer and into the fall. Yeah, that's a great point.
What was that?
They were having doors fly off the Boeing what was that? The 737 Max, I
Yeah.
think, or 757 Max, whatever it is. Yeah, so they were already having a public relations disaster. The last thing they needed was footage of them coming in, smashing into the ground. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
not
that
to
doesn't
laugh
mean you
about
can
it, but
just let them be up there. I mean, I think that whoever the people asking the questions are asking or are attacking the wrong people. Somebody
yeah,
should have asked Boeing for their $47 million to go get them people that they left up there because of
I,
their shitty spacecraft
I'm sure there's
to
some
solve the problem.
monetary moving around. But look, I mean, the thing is, these astronauts are not victims. Again, these were experienced, these were test pilots, and they're astronauts, which is probably the most dangerous thing you can sign on to. So it's part of to me, if it's me, it's like, oh, okay, something went wrong and you're stranded up there. Okay, that has to be in the deck of cards of possibilities,
And that
Oh
has
yeah,
to
right?
be
yeah.
if you, hey, this thing might burn up on the way back. Do you want to chance that or you want to stay up here till we can come
I'd
get you? We don't know when.
I'd probably want to stay
Which
up
one you gonna
there.
pick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
And the other thing
Zero
is,
gravity SpaceX. I'm going for the zero gravity SpaceX.
I mean, SpaceX is still testing a lot of things, and again, the Starship, they haven't launched one. They haven't. I don't think they've retrieved it yet, right? They keep blowing up the Starship ones, but that's what like everyone says, space is hard. There's always a lot of problems before you figure it out. I mean, a lot of the issues that they had to figure out for the Dragon is amazing. If you just start reading about the technology of that thing, it's mind blowing. And most astronauts are like, that thing's freaking bulletproof. Like
And
they
dude,
think it's the
have you
best.
seen the inside of it? The inside of it looks like a Tesla.
Yeah,
it's
well,
all it's all like touch screens and
yeah, everything's like touch screens.
pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
But I don't know.
well, I'm glad they made it back to Earth.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching it here, three generations on the TV when it was landing, and it was amazing. I mean, seeing those shoots come out, and then the bigger shoots come out, and they're bobbing around in the water, and
What
the
did you
boats
watch
are
it on, Mike?
on TV. I
No,
think
what channel?
I was going back and forth between Fox and MSNBC because I just wanted to see what MSNBC's coverage was.
Yeah, I'm
But
curious about that.
most of them had the NASA feed. The thing with because there's a lot of people that were talking about how, the the you know the media, the mainstream media, whatever you want to call it, the party media, was really downplaying this story. And again, they weren't mentioning it on the nightly news,
No,
as much as say Fox was, but they covered the actual landing, and
well,
but
that's good.
everything was like a NASA feed. Um, but again, everything's like so like this right now. That was actually something else I wanted to talk about that this story shows is like man, everything is still over the top. I mean, you turn on the party media, of course, they're a disaster. But then even like a lot of the media outlets that I do like and people that most commentators that I do like, they're being snarky about it. And I'm like, can we just have a story? Can we just tell the story and not have everything be tied back to like
Well,
terrestrial politics once in a while?
yeah, like I'm
It's
at
just
work and
tiring.
this
Like, I
this
just
is a
don't understand why it needs to be politicized.
Thank you.
Listen, Elon Musk said, "Hey, I'm going to give you, I can get this. I don't know how much it is. We're just going to say $10 million piece of equipment out of my own goodness because I want to not leave them people up there." Okay. That's a financial decision. NASA could have said, "Yeah, sure, we'll take it. Go get them." But also, you got to think he only had five of those pieces of equipment.
Right.
Even though he's giving it away for
Well, he's not,
free,
it's coming
it's
back.
still a use of resource.
Yeah, it's coming
not
back.
only wait,
And
wait,
he,
Mike, not only
yeah.
is it coming back, it's coming back, landing itself in
Well, no, I'm talking about the
in a
capsule.
scaffolding. No, I'm joking,
Yeah, I'm
but
talking
like
about so I
the
mean, I'm
guy.
sure the
Well,
issue was that not that he was going to give anything to them, it was that he could have it ready to go, that he would like put the hammer down
Hmm.
and they would bypass the regular process and like get this thing ready to go. I think that
And
was
get
what
these
he
people
offered.
back to Earth where they
yeah,
needed to
it's
be.
politicized because
Right.
The Biden administration wouldn't let him do it.
That's where it started becoming politicized,
Yeah.
in
Right,
my
but what
opinion.
is it? They wouldn't let him do it, or was it literally like a use of resources
They just said
decision?
no, according to him, and that's all. The only look, it's him and them, and so I haven't heard anything from the Biden administration. There's no reps from the Biden administration that have said anything on this on the record. Musk has said twice that he offered and they said no. That was the beginning, middle, and end of it. There was no other discussion that they said no.
Right.
And
That's just to me, that's deplorable.
it's
He,
crazy.
I've got the means, I've got the intent. I want to get these people back to Earth. Sure, is it a political move? Whatever. But the move was to bring people back down to save their lives, essentially.
And he's a contractor with the government, so they know that he's good at what he does, right? I mean, they
Yeah,
use him.
yeah.
He's the best at what he does.
Right.
But
So
like I said, I
he
don't
was
think
showing up at Trump rallies, Mike. I mean, that's what it is.
I think that's what it was. And again, I was not privy to all this stuff. No one was privy to the stuff as it was
Right.
going on last fall. But I will tell you this, I did think a couple times, I was like, why aren't they getting these people back? Like, what's the holdup? Like, why can't they just go get them? You know? And the thing is, Scott Kelly, who was on that, I think he was on Fox. He was giving some color commentating, and he was like, that's what Musk says is totally false. Like he doesn't know. He wasn't part of the conversation, but he's a super leftist, so he has to defend the party. He's like, that's not true. They had a capsule up there. They could have come down anytime since September. But I did a little research, and what he didn't mention, he's an astronaut. He's actually been on the space station like 4 times. The thing that he left out was they don't want to do that because they don't want to leave it with they need to get another one up there. They don't just send them all down. And so he
And
never
that makes
said that. And I was
sense.
like, well, he's being deceitful because he's not telling. It's like the Paul Harvey thing. He's not telling the whole story, which I'm tired of. I'm tired of that from anyone in the press when they don't tell the whole story, you know? And it's like, I'm just little old me and I was able to research that. So
All right.
whatever. It's
Here's my last little bit of like Elon fanboy kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
fanboy.
well,
yeah.
I am. I listen. I could pick worse people to be a fanboy for. You know what I mean? He's it's a pretty safe bet. You know, but if his Neuralink comes out and we're suddenly able to conceive what other people are thinking, dishonesty is going to be a thing of the past to a large degree as well. Like he's got just a lot of stuff going, man. Like the Neuralink, I think is. I'm not going to do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to put a fucking chip in my brain, but if we get to a point where your thoughts are relayed as you're thinking them, you can't lie so much anymore. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that,
Yeah,
and
it's
that
called a
is
face.
a
Look at
Yeah.
your face when you're talking.
But my point being is that if you can read, if you can hear what people are thinking rather than body language and words and all these other things, and it's just pure information, one person to the other, that's going to change the world too in a massive way. I think that's pretty far
For
off,
better or
but it
worse, though.
doesn't. I
Well,
don't know. I think for better.
Well, there's a lot of ethical considerations, and as much as I admire Elon Musk, I don't know that he's an ethical or an ethicist or whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't know that that's his driving priority. He's the guy pushing the technology. I think it's going to be up to us and other people to decide, like, is it a good idea or not? I mean, Neuralink, they're selling it as a way to have like quadriplegics walk again and stuff like that, or people be able to talk, which is fantastic. But as we've talked about, you bring in the Kaczynski theorem, any technology is always presented with its most positive aspects at first, and it's only later that
Sure. Sure.
you learn the downside of whatever
Well,
that may
yeah,
be.
and to that point, Mike, look at what Musk has said on about AI.
Yeah,
Like he was one of the pioneers in that industry as well, and then it was very shortly thereafter that he talked about the dangers of it not being controlled and in the right hands. So I
yeah,
mean, he kind of
Yeah.
just like he lets the genie out of the bottle and then says, "Watch out for that genie because it might do this." You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
Well,
so.
he said on the recent Rogan, he said that AI there's about a 20% chance it'll take over the world, but there's about an 80% chance that it's going to make the world a better place.
Right.
And I don't know, those
The-
aren't
well, here
odds that I'm necessarily pleased with, but you could have worse.
here's the thing, and someone explained this to me at one point, and it was a good analogy, and because I was like, I kind of get AI, but like, why is it dangerous? And they're like, listen, here's why AI is awesome. Like if you have a true AI hooked up with like a supercomputer and you're able to interface with it and you're like, look, we need to cure cancer, right? Or we need to come up with a medication that cures cancer, or makes people live an extra 10 years and just let this thing roll, right? And it takes like 18 minutes. And it's like, oh, okay, we got it. Well, it's a machine, right? So you could also say, come up with a virus that will kill every
Yeah.
single person on the planet. And like 18 minutes later, it's got the whole
The code.
DNA, the code layout for it. So it doesn't care. And that's the danger of it. It's not that AI, it's not the Terminator. It's like, what can human beings do with this type of technology? Because if we can, we will. I mean, if there's anything we've learned, is that, you know what I mean? Like the whole thing when people are talking about like crossing like humans with animals and it's happening. I guarantee you China's doing some sick, twisted Nazi
Oh,
shit
well,
with like
they've talked
genetic
about
research
there's
and stuff like that. I mean,
no,
they
they've
are. You
talked
know
about
it.
soldiers in like Afghanistan. They have like these chloroform patches that they put on that like provide them with nutrients and stuff, all from the sun. Like there are things that are going on that are beyond our knowledge. But the interesting thing with AI is so Jason, we all love Jason. Jason is you guys have never like really met him face to face, but he and I we're just aggressive with each other all the time. And he has real issues with like his aggression sometimes. And his use of AI is like he has a couple bakeries in DC that he and his wife run, and he'll get into like a kerfluffle with somebody else in the neighborhood. They're like, "Can you stop serving ice cream because that's our thing, and we wanna serve ice." And they'll lay into him, and he'll write really like heated, fucking angry, fucking emails to them. And then what does he do? He goes to AI and says, "Make this sound nicer." Right?
Wow.
So but here's the thing. I just got my new phone. I got the S25 and it's got Gemini built into it, which is the Google one. So that's the one where you go, send me a picture of Nazis, and it's got like an Indian woman, a black
Well, used
guy,
to. It
and an
used to.
Aboriginal guy. No, it's not. It's not very different than what you were hearing before. I've been playing with it a lot, but the point is AI is. I'm not worried. I was worried about AI for a while, but AI is really, really, really not as impressive on some
Well,
levels
right now,
as right,
You have to know how to work it. It's a
Right. You have
yeah,
to know
computer.
how to work it.
yeah,
yeah.
but that's the thing. We still have to work it. We are still in control of it. It is not in control of us. If we say, draw me a picture of an elephant with a hippo's butt, it's going to do
Yeah,
that,
but
but it's literally going to be an elephant and then a cut and paste hippo's butt on it. It's not like it melds the two together and makes it this cohesive picture that almost looks like an
yeah, but
elephant had a
that's
hippo's
that's
butt.
just that's just now, Zeus. I mean, it's like,
Yeah, it does.
oh,
That's what Dolly
No,
is.
no, no, I know. But what I'm
yeah.
saying is, I think we're pretty far from fucking Skynet. Is what I'm saying. It's
I don't
it's
know,
not.
man. I don't know. I mean, this stuff is being used in the defense industry, right? I mean, and we've already talked about on this very podcast about the
What
AI,
podcast is that?
the Friends of Zeus podcast, that
Yeah.
the AI robot in the back of the pickup truck that took out that Iranian dude that was going down the road. It shot him and didn't shoot his
Oh, I didn't hear
wife.
about this.
Yeah, we talked. It was in our one of my favorite episodes, AI, robotics, supercomputers, and you. It was like
Oh,
episode
okay.
30 something. But the fact that this thing was able to hop up out of the back of a truck, shoot, and then the car went off the road, and it was able to recalibrate, do facial recognition on the guy, and kill shot him, like completely autonomously. It wasn't controlled remotely. The Israelis had this thing installed a week before this guy even drove by on the road.
Yeah, but that's
Completely
a far
autonomous.
stretch. That's a far stretch from world domination.
I get you, but I'm saying this was what, 8 years ago or something, or 5 years ago, and it was working. I'm saying on the battlefield, we already have autonomous robots. I mean, look at Ukraine. It's like there's drones fighting drones over there. It's bananas, man. The
Yeah,
footage,
even today with the thing that happened in McLean with the CIA Langley.
yeah, I just
Um,
drove by there.
they were showing videos of the drones. They were
Wow.
just showing videos of the drones that are taking pictures of whatever's going on. They're just showing pictures of the drones. It's weird. We're in a fascinating period in history, and I hope I get to see some of the cool shit. I think we are seeing some of the cool shit though.
I think
Like
so.
like literally since Elon, God, I'm not. This is not me being like a fanboy, but like literally since he has taken over like space travel, we
Yeah.
have advanced like fucking astronomically over what we did in the last 50 years. It's like a turbo boost on everything.
Well,
I truly believe that we will have people colonizing Mars, maybe small colonies, maybe 100 people, 200 people, maybe whatever. But we will have, before we die, assuming that we live regularly, a normal life, 70, 80 years old, we're going to see some crazy shit like sports on Mars or some crazy stuff. It's going to be very interesting.
one of the things that
And
I, well, one of the things that I think he's touched on, but I think about with the whole Mars thing is what are the implications politically? Because who's in control there? Like if you're the
who are
first
there
people to
first?
if you're the first people to touch down, it's like, is there someone back here on Earth like, you guys better submit your IRS forms by April the 15th? Like, what, dude? I'm on freaking Mars. Like, I mean, in
Yeah,
other
this is
words, it's a
this
whole
is the
new
Mars
frontier.
IRS.
It's going to be like Lord of the Flies, I think, or it has the potential to be, you
That's
know.
why
Access territory.
that's why you do it like in Antarctica. You have bases. You
Hmm.
can have like Delaware base, the Texas base.
Yeah, but you know what, Des? I don't think that's the plan. I think what Mike was saying is way more.
Like, who's going to be the first serial killer on Mars?
Hmm.
You know it's going to
Elon
happen.
Musk.
Who's going to be the first baby on Mars?
Who's going to be the first baby on Mars?
Mars baby.
There you go.
Mars baby.
I mean, it's
Who's going to be the first person that watches Mars attacks on Mars? Earth attacks.
I'm just happy because just as a human being, it's just cool to see, everything that it just keeps going. You really recognize that you're just here for such a short little tiny, teeny, tiny amount of
And we
time
were and
in the
like
grand scheme of things.
back when we landed on the moon, which I do believe we did. Um,
It's weird that we have to
that
say
was
that,
like that was like this is gonna change the world, and now here we are in 2025, and we're like really getting ready to change the world. Like that was the one small step for mankind, one giant leap, or what is it, Mike? You know it.
one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is the giant leap for mankind. But really, it's 50 years.
That
It's
was
a drop
too.
in the bucket. It's a drop in the
I
bucket
mean,
in human history.
the thing about
50
landing
years.
on the moon is it showed us
We
that
haven't even been there
it's
yet.
possible, and it
Ha!
allowed people
To
Desiree is
Mars.
a
To Mars.
non-believer.
No,
to
to Mars.
dream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we haven't been to Mars yet. Well,
Yeah.
we've sent
rovers
probes. Yeah, we've sent
Yeah,
many
we ain't seen the
rovers.
people. We seen some people there. I mean, like, this is what I'm
No,
saying. Like, he is
we
I mean,
will.
a dreamer,
Well,
sure, you can dream all the things, but whoo, 10 years, man. Whoo, back it up. Let's be real.
I could see us having someone there within a person there within 10 years if they can come
Has
back.
anyone
without a
ever thought,
doubt.
like, to look at three rocks from the other side of the sun?
I know. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's on the other side of that thing? Probably
Well,
I
be
mean,
the same stuff.
here's the thing about human beings that's so awesome though, is there are already thousands of people that are like, I want to go to Mars.
yeah.
I'm training, I'm working out, I'm doing stuff, I'm staying in a bubble, I'm eating
If I'm like,
Are
seaweed.
you
if I'm like,
serious?
Yeah. It's a whole, it's been around for like 15 years. People have been like getting on the waiting list, training for it, living in like bubbles, and I mean there are
I'm
start
never
looking it
going
up.
to Mars.
But what I'm saying is, isn't it great that there are people that want to? I mean, I can't get over the claustrophobia thing. It's like a 6 month journey in a rocket. I'm not doing that.
It's a 6-month journey.
oh yeah, and well, and the
Yeah, in a
I
rocket.
think
apparently,
a 23-hour flight's too long.
I think Elon has said this. Elon has said that if you go to Mars, that's it. You're
You're
not
not
coming
coming
back.
back.
It's a one-way trip. Not
For
that you're gonna
now.
die, but that you're not coming back.
For now.
Which, but yeah, but that's fat. You know what? If I'm
What is this?
75 and they'll put me on the ship, maybe I do it. You know?
Oh wait, hold on. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
What about you,
It's
Hot Carl? You going to Mars?
No, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm not going to Mars.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to, I suppose, but no, voluntarily, no, I'm not going to Mars.
I'm not going to be able to move all my shit to Mars. Oh,
no,
stuff.
no. You gotta have your fancy bags and stuff.
I don't
You gotta
have
bring all
fancy
those
bags. I just have
Christmas.
stuff. I have Christmas trees that need to
Yeah, bring
come.
the Christmas trees.
I can't bring the cats.
But is it Christmas on Mars?
Sure,
Was
why not?
Jesus on Mars?
Yeah, he will be then.
Yeah,
No,
I'm sure somebody will
missionaries.
think of them.
Hey, we had missionaries on this planet, man. It's same shit. Just gonna go there.
Yeah, somebody will rewrite the Bible, but instead of it being Earth, it'll be this place setting will be Mars, and then market that.
yeah. Lord Elon. I think we're in a really cool place and time in the history of Earth. This is
No, we are.
maybe one of the best times ever, and one of the worst. Like the politicizing of everything. It'd be nice to get up there and maybe. I doubt that you're going to be able to escape the politicism, but at least it'll be like 6 months away. You know what I mean? Like no matter what, no matter what you do that might be politically incorrect, you got like a 6-month journey before the cops come and grab you.
Yeah, and is there going to be like a TV on Mars? Like, are we going to use the Starlink to get information? Like, what?
Sure.
I don't know.
Satellites.
Yeah.
We already
I'm
got
skeptical.
that technology.
I'll tell you what, man. I am dying for Starlink to go into 2.0 so this 1.0 gets cheaper because I hear nothing but great things about it, and I
We
want to
have
be
like
able to
4
do.
Starlings. Just get one.
They're expensive.
I know, but we have like 4 of them.
You do?
Maybe 3. Yeah. 3 or 4.
I don't even know
Really?
what it is.
Yeah, we got a brand new one in the box sitting by the front door.
Wait, Jack, you don't know what Starlink is?
I mean, I'm aware of the fact that Musk has offered it to places where they didn't have any kind of like Wi-Fi.
Well, no,
or
no, no,
internet.
no. You or I could get it, but it's like $300 for the unit, and it's a pretty expensive. I guess it's not that expensive, but not in my financial, capability.
But what
It's
would
like
you do with it?
$100 a month, but it's flawless. Apparently, I've been
It's
wanting.
not
I want it.
flawless. It's got
It.
its issues, but I mean it works better than the hotel fucking internet.
Oh, you take it with you? You've got the mobile one?
Yeah, I think they're all mobile.
No, they have like home units too.
Oh, we don't have the
Um,
home units. We have the mobile units. We have
I heard
a
they're
big
great.
one.
I
We
heard
have a
like if
mini
you're,
one.
I heard like if you're camping, like you got like
Yeah.
full 5 fucking G.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All right, so it's basically super Wi-Fi. You'll get a signal wherever you are. That's what it is.
Essentially.
Yeah, but you have to always face it to the north and there can't be any obstructions. That's the problem with
So
it.
it's like those old satellite dishes people would get for the football package.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's basically like that.
Yeah, I can live without that. I'm okay.
Well,
But it's
for
handy if you
me,
have expendable dollars.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like for me, like I'm tired of going. I love Patriots. They take care of me. They treat me great, but the Wi-Fi fucking sucks. Like like Desiree in our last episode, I had a blast on that episode, but I kept cutting out. And Des was like, "Oh, he does that. just ignore it. It happens."
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
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 I gotta roll. I gotta go. I'm sorry. You
Well,
guys
it's
can stay
11
on, but
o'clock.
I'll explain later. I gotta jump.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Well, we'll sign off.
do we want to sign off? Or do we have more to talk about?
I think we have been on for a while. I don't know how much more about Musk we can talk about. So
Yeah, I
maybe
know.
it's
I
time
know
to wrap
it.
things up.
I know it really turned into my fanboy episode. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jack, or I mean, Hot Carl.
Yeah, well,
You
like I
wanna,
said, we've been on for a while. Do the thing with the hand and let's wrap things up.
Oh, hold on. Where
Oh,
am I?
can't see him.
I see. Oh, wow, that's like Blair Witch Project stuff right there. That was great.
Yeah. Michael!